Ladies and gentlemen, Fox News in New York, we're going to talk to David about this later in the hour, reported that they've got body scanners, car scanners, showed people being forced to drive through X-rays that shoot through cars with gamma rays. I mean, this makes chest X-rays look tame in comparison. Some of the units, the car is driven up and then it's scanned. Others, they drive the car through it. And I guess they tell the foolish troops to do it. Oh, it's okay. Go ahead and do it. They're setting the precedent to literally microwave us in front of everyone. Well, Watson did research, and he's got an amazing article here. New York National Guard involved in mass arrest of U.S. citizens. And we got links down to mainstream news in part 2, how great it is that the Guard has arrested 2,000 citizens for petty crimes, including gun possession. I mean, this is martial law. New York National Guard involved in mass arrest of U.S. citizens. Troops assist in over 2,000 arrests last year alone as America sinks into total martial law. And the same thing's happening all over the country. And that's why we saw the mayor of Schenectady a few months ago call for martial law in that little sleepy town. So we're going back to David Icke in a minute. Don't forget, we have made films like Endgame, Invisible Empire, A New Order Defined, and, of course, the Obama deception that go into who these bankers are, how they're controlling society, and what their plan is. And this film, Endgame, gets into the extermination plan. This film is free at Infowars.com when you order it with Invisible Empire or several other of our newest films. And I'm doing that because Endgame, I believe, is probably my most important film, and it's got to be seen quickly. So Infowars.com, there's a link at the top to 2 different shopping carts that have basically the same specials. We've got a deal where you can get a free ball cap as well. Up at Infowars.com, or ask about the free deals and combos when you call. When you buy a DVD, get a free hat, buy some T-shirts, get a free hat, and your purchase also makes this show possible. The toll-free number is 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. We'll get into this martial law, police state, cybersecurity. Now they're admitting censorship of the Internet with David in a moment. But, David, segueing from the oil, where do you think that's going, A? And, B, the media has now shifted in Europe, as you know, England and the U.S., to saying, okay, it is a depression. After telling us we were in a recovery, now it's a depression. What do you see unfolding with that leading into a possible strike on Iran? What do you see from studying the globalist behavior in the past, which is psychopathic, and they do it in patterns? What do you see unfolding?
Well, on the Gulf, they want it to get as bad as possible, so they can exploit it as much as possible with solutions to the problem they've created. In terms of the economic situation, I've been saying since 2008 that there's a 3-point plan here. One was to crash the economy in 2008 so people could see there was a major problem. This then justifies, it doesn't really, but in their efforts to justify it, they say it justifies a massive, a staggering, we still don't understand the scale of the transfer of wealth from the population to the banks and the elite that has gone on as a result of this bank bailout. I was reading the other day an article about the fact that these toxic assets of these banks, which the taxpayer money was supposed to have been paid over to sort out, the banks still own the toxic assets. But from what this article was saying, they don't have to appear on the balance sheet until they're sold. So you've got a ticking time bomb there, and you've got balance sheets that are being produced by banks that are absolutely nothing like the actual financial state of that bank. But the second point in this 3-stage plan that I was talking about since 2008 was to empty the coffers of governments in terms of reacting to the economic situation. And we have reached that now. I mean, what we're having in Britain is absolutely savage, beyond belief, cuts in public expenditure by the government to react to the incredible debt that they've been
but the taxes go up, so a larger percentage of the taxes goes directly to the bankers, who were the ones that created the $600 trillion conservatively in fake assets, and they won't tell Congress or Parliament where the money went.
Exactly. The same's happening over here in Europe. In Britain, during the Brown Labour government that was replaced recently, this amazing transfer of wealth went from taxpayers to the banking system, and and to the cabal network in general. And now unbelievable levels of cuts in public expenditure are being instigated because they say we're in so much trouble because of the debt. Now, wait for this, mate. I talked about earlier about everything connects into everything else. The David Cameron government that has replaced the Brown Labour government has appointed someone to oversee where these savage cuts of billions and billions of pounds are going to be made that are going to fundamentally affect the lives of everyone in this country. Guess who they've appointed? Lord Brown, former chief executive of BP, who was responsible for the decisions that led up eventually to the Gulf oil disaster.
Well, that's like having all these former Goldman Sachs...
They're laughing at us, mate.
I mean, that's like having all these former Goldman Sachs people running every position in the federal government, getting the bailout money and then giving it to Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan. I mean, it is a new level of crime. And now in the U.S., under the Federal Reserve expansion and powers, they're being given a new secret office with unlimited funds to, quote, take over any area of the economy they wish. So they're being given dictatorial power right now, and the same thing's being done in Greece and everywhere else. This is their global coup d'etat. They're going for it all. And then that segues into the UN and the IMF announcing we need to start phasing out all the currencies and going to an SDR basket, and we need a global government that you pay your carbon taxes to finance this. And who are the biggest investors in carbon credits? Well, it's Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, BP, and a handful of others. It's always the same inner cabal.
Exactly, and you've got this guy in America who was the great new messiah, Obama, who, if anything, is worse than Bush and that whole period because it's speeding up now. I mean, this man is not even subtle. He's just agreeing to everything necessary to allow this to speed up and speed up and speed up. And I say this to people, all that's happening now was predicted a long, long time ago. Not because of people sitting in darkened rooms smoking something and coming to some conclusions, but from hard research, from documents, from written material saying what these people were planning to do, and it's unfolding now. It wasn't prophecy, it was research. Now we have to then decide, where do we draw the line here? We didn't draw it when it was first pointed out because, it's just conspiracy theorists. Well, are we going to draw it now? Or are we going to draw it a few months down the road when it's even worse? A year or two down the road when what's happening today will be nothing compared with then? When are we going to draw the line? There's nothing in anybody's life. I don't care who they are. I don't care where they are. There's nothing more important in anybody's life than focusing on what is going on and we coming together as a population, irrespective of race, religion, color, creed, income bracket, and saying, what are we going to do together to stop this? Because at the moment, we have got a tail, actually at the core, a tiny tail, wagging a massive dog. And unless we start focusing on this and cut out the diversions that are designed to stop us focusing on this, then it's just going to get worse. But the power is still in our hands. There are so many of us and so few of those in full knowledge who are actually manipulating us. Come on, wake up. Do something.
David Icke is...
There's never nothing that we can do. What can I do? Well, sit down. How can you make a contribution to this? How can you communicate this information? Even if it's calling into a radio show in the mainstream or something and just saying this is going on, go to this website, go to this radio program. They'll tell you what's going on. There's nothing that...
There's already a huge awakening happening. We've got to accelerate it because not only is that little tail wagging this giant dog, they're going to pose with their false solutions to the crisis they created. That's their methodology, as you know. Problem, reaction, solution, to bring us deeper under their control unless we're there every step of the way going, you're the crooks, you're the social engineers, you're the controllers, you're the one that did this. How asinine to give the Federal Reserve that engineered this even more power. How asinine to give the Bank of England, who engineered this on record, more power. Look at your connections. Look at how you're involved in this. Look at what you've done. We've got to be there. That's why they want to shut down the internet, because they're panicked. Now let's talk about that. Chinese net-style censorship now now coming to Australia, coming to New Zealand, coming to Italy, coming to France. Open announcements in our news that, yes, it's going to be more draconian, but to keep you safe because Al-Qaeda is about to shut the internet down, so we've got to have the power to shut it down to save it. We're going to track everything you do. We're going to block what websites you can visit. Already Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com are already censored on the free broadband in many cities in Europe. We've confirmed that. The government here, the FCC saying they're going to take it over. Cass Sunstein saying he's going to censor it. There's no doubt that line in the sand, if we don't stand up against tyrants, is whatever we'll put up with, as Thomas Jefferson said. They aren't going to push it to the limit. And so, again, showing that we have power, David, doesn't that indicate it that now they are moving against the web, even though that exposes them, because they realize that there is an accelerated awakening happening?